Hello, Musto006 back for some more Mega Man 6. And it's time to go put the wind up another Robot Master. He's the master of wind, a good kind hopefully. It's Windman. Not too unsurprisingly, we find ourselves in a tower high up in the sky. And the first enemies to greet us are the Pandita, clearly modelled after the panda bear, native to where Windman originates, China. A solitary Rhoda here, nothing to worry about. And another panda. I'll talk about their attacks a bit later, but coming up next is my most hated enemy of the stage, the Cannon Peller. They fire cannons at you in an arcing fashion, but because they hover up and down, often out of normal reach, you need to use fans to fight them, and getting nicely positioned to do so without getting hit yourself, as you just saw, can be rather difficult. And unfortunately this screen has more of them. The floor-bound enemies can't be killed with a Mega Buster, so just jump over them, or hit them with Buzzard Man's weapon if you have it. Fortunately this cannon can be shot at from the ground, so take advantage of that. And in theory, so can the next one. But what with that spike in on the floor always going to be in your way, there thankfully is a better strategy. One I didn't hit upon for quite a while, and that's to stand on the edge of the fan so you're not constantly hovering up and down. Then you can pick and choose your moment to jump up, using the fan, and hit it, taking as much time as you feel you need. Now, however long ago I recorded this, I have no idea what I was doing. The perfect run's gone, so I don't know whether I was trying to demonstrate how to get an E-Tank or what, but please forgive me. The way the platforms work, at any rate, is that when you jump on them, they flip over to the opposite side of the holder. Point worth mentioning, I guess, is that you can't slide when in Jet or Power Mega Man, so you'll need to switch back. But here, I get the E-Tank, which frankly I don't need, then go back to the left. Why I didn't just slide through is a complete mystery to me. Regardless, for this screen, if you slide under the ceiling-bound enemy, oh yeah, they can be on the ceiling too, you'll be absolutely fine. And there's a free one up there as well, should you want it. So, back to the pandas. Their first attack is to fire a black arcing shot, and this is rather slow moving and easy to avoid. But their second attack, when you're on the same level as them, is to fire a white horizontal shot at you, which is rather quick moving, and certainly for the last two pandas on this screen, requires some nifty timing to avoid. The Power Muster we saw in Plant Stage back, but for this one, if you hand to the left under the low-hanging ceiling, it'll never be able to fit inside to get you, so shoot away at your heart's content. Now for this screen, I suggest dropping down on the far right-hand side to get as much distance as possible between yourself and the Rhodas, and you then have enough time to take them out, even if you let them drop down to your level. This is the last screen, well, one with enemies in anyway, and it's full of more pandas, but this time fans and low-hanging ceilings with spikes on them. For the most part, it's straightforward enough, but the last pan is somewhat annoyingly positioned, and to be honest, I rely a little bit on good fortune, but I don't get smacked in the face with either type of pellet. But you can obviously take your time and try to kill it before proceeding, if you prefer. That brings us to Windman, who is simple when you know what to do. My tip would be that you always want to be positioned in the opposite corner of the screen to wind. The middle of the green section on the floor is a pretty good guide. He has 3 moves. Note, not 3 attacks. His first, which is an attack, is to fire 2 propeller shots towards you, and given the diagonal up and down way they travel, they look kind of threatening. But if you're standing in the right place, you can fairly easily jump over both at the same time. His second move is to hover upwards, move to where you are positioned, and drop down. You need to get used to the timing on this, and it can be slightly dependent upon how high up he is, but pick your moment to slide underwind toward the middle of the screen, and preferably slide again to get to one of the edges of the screen. Not like how I'm about to demonstrate just here. Always liable to do the same move again, and this time drop right down the middle of the screen, giving you far less room to manoeuvre. And bloody hell, what was that? Good thing I got hit in the level, or that would have been a disastrous way to mess up an accidental perfect run. And yes, I know I have to talk about Wind's third move. Don't worry, I'll be covering that in huge detail a little later. I get Windstorm, or tornado attack that Wind himself didn't use. So a rather strange choice of weapon. I'd have thought the twin propeller attack would have been a much more obvious choice. Oh, there is so much to talk about when it comes to perfect running this stage. This one was a pain. I'm somewhat relieved to be able to say there were no issues with the first screen. The placement of the pandas makes it very easy to take them out without needing to put yourself in any real danger. And if I had had any trouble with this screen, it probably would have been time to give up for the day, hell, maybe even the year. And this screen, while not being as straightforward as the previous two due to the panda placement, also passed smoothly. But here's where the trouble all started. I'm not sure whether the better strategy is to use the rightmost fan to fight this thing, so as to keep more distance, but I actually found using the left fan and strategically falling down at certain times worked well for me. Still didn't stop at least half a dozen outtakes though. And the second cannon pillar on this screen was equally as annoying, until I realised I could rest on the edge of the fan, which we'll see in just a moment, or indeed you saw earlier during the Let's Play. I spent a fair few attempts trying to defeat it while remaining on the ledge and jumping to avoid the spiny enemy. Those attempts did not end well. And obviously for this section afterwards, don't jump too high into the fans or you'll be eating spike in no time. No problems with the platform rotating screens. When you know how they work and you get a feel for the timing, they're pretty easy to traverse. So there were a few outtakes on this screen. The second and third pandas, as I said before, require some careful manipulation to avoid. Now, I might seem extra cautious here, but by this point in time I was getting a little sick of the stage and was trying to avoid making any stupid mistakes. But the wait until an arcing shot is fired, jump down to attack, and then jump back up to avoid a horizontal shot technique does seem to work rather nicely. For this screen, hang left, shoot, done. For this screen, hang right, shoot, done. The last enemy screen has one annoyingly placed panda at the very end, and it probably cost me a Robot Master attempt on again about half a dozen occasions. As we're about to see, this time around I actually stopped to kill it, but as you can see, avoiding either of its attacks when you have a fan, spikes and a pit to be aware of can be problematic. All things equal, as previously mentioned, I'd actually generally favour hightailing it for the ladder, but it all worked out okay on this occasion. Oh, Windman, you didn't half wind me up. Okay, so the first 10 seconds or so perfectly illustrate the problems I was having. The third move of his, where he tries to suck you into him. He kept doing it for long periods and I couldn't get away. Now, I don't know for certain why this was happening. Possibly because I was shooting at the time, but I swear it seemed to be completely random how long he did the move for, and even by sliding, sometimes I was getting no purchase on the floor. Given that I was extremely confident about being able to dodge his moves, getting hit in this way over and over again pissed me off to no end. Avoiding the twin propellers is a cinch when you're at the edge of the screen, and I never expect to get hit by him when he moves from one side to the other, although I will confess to being nervous when he hovers at a low height. But this vacuum attack, ugh! If you've been watching closely, I actually kind of continue to shoot at him while he does it, but there's no seemingly apparent explanation as to why sometimes I slide and can get further away from him, and other times I got pulled in. Yeah, I expected this Robot Master fight to be easy. I certainly didn't expect it to give me anywhere near this much grief. Well, that took the wind well and truly out of my sails. Mostly thanks to my experience on the Robot Master. Having said that, it still only took an hour to get the perfect run. And that was with a total of 25 outtakes, 6 of which were on Windman. If you think it seems unlikely that it only took an hour, I'd point out that around half of the screw-ups were within the first minute or so of the level, trying to get by the cannon pellers. As I've said, it can be very awkward to A. hit them, and B. avoid being hit yourself when you're having to use fans to reach them. I still can't offer a foolproof way of getting by them, Buster only anyway. If you're not above using Robot Master weapons, Centaurs or Tomahawks get my personal seal of approval. Beyond that, the pandas toward the middle and end of the level can cause their share of problems, thanks to the terrain not particularly working in your favour. In the middle, you need to be quick yet strategic when attacking them, so as not to be taken by surprise by their white horizontal shots. At the end of the level, it's once again the fan that makes things tricky in terms of trying to find a good moment to either attack or make a run for it. Personally, I favour the latter, since if hanging around to attack it, you leave yourself vulnerable. And as for Windman, my advice, including to myself, is don't shoot him when he's sucking you in. Every time on the perfect run attempts, the suction just seemed to get stronger and I couldn't slide away. Very infuriating. And while I can't say for 100% whether this is supposed to happen in the first place, or whether it's a Mega Man Anniversary Collection thing, not shooting Wind at these times seemed to make a big difference, although it would elongate the fight. Largely thanks to Windman, who I perceived to be quite an easy Robot Master to beat no damage, getting stuffed by what I thought was unescapable suction was royally pissing me off. And all that brings me to a score of 6 out of 10 for Windman. The level should be more troublesome than the Robot Master, and if I were to re-attempt this, I'd expect a much lower score now, that I'd approach Windman in a different way. But for how it turned out, 6 is about the actual reflection. So that was one I was delighted to get out of the way. Hopefully I won't get snowed under by the next Robot Master. Hope to see you next time. Cheerio.